Welcome back to the show. Our next guest is Dan Gallagher, Director of Sports Sales at Atlantic City Sports Commission. Dan, welcome to the show.
Mike, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Listen, bro, we appreciate you here anytime, whether it's on the radio show, here on the TV show. It's just full of information and what we like, sports and whatnot.
Got that right.
As we go along. So, Dan, listen, before we get to some of the events that the Atlantic City Sports Commission presents to our viewers and those in the region, tell us about you a little bit. How did you get into this world of sports and marketing and whatnot?
Well, Mike, I really cut my teeth here in Atlantic City at the Chelsea Hotel. And I was a server, and then I was a bartender, and then I was a supervisor. And I was just enthralled by what Atlantic City had to offer and the amenities that it had. And then when the conventions were coming in on the quiet season, the sporting events, I said, this city has a lot to offer. And I was graduating Villanova at the time, and my degree was in public relations. And I was getting ready to take my LSATs to go to law school because I wanted to be like a sports attorney, show me the money. Right. And I was graduating Villanova at the time, and I took my LSATs, and I applied to all the law schools when I got in, and I realized how expensive law school was. So I said I had to change direction. So I actually became the sales director for the Chelsea Hotel. And when the ACCVA privatized in 2014 and became Meet AC, I joined them as their sales manager. And then in 2015, we created the Atlantic City Sports Commission. It was the first inaugural year, and kind of has been gangbusters since. We started off, that was our smallest market segment in Atlantic City, and I'm proud to say to this day it is our largest sports segment in Atlantic City, largest market segment in Atlantic City.
And it's amazing, and we'll talk more about it as we do this interview, get into the meat and potatoes of it. Chelsea, being a resident at the Ocean Club, I'll give that out. Get to see what you did there for many years. It was a lot of fun. I used to be able to sneak over there and whatnot. Great property. But again, what you said, and being millennial, right? I mean, you're at that age, and this is one thing that we try to pride ourselves on in Atlantic City. We love our casinos. We love the gaming and the restaurants and the food. But we have such a unique place, whether it's the boardwalk, the beach, boardwalk hall, whatnot. Touch on that, the amenities that we have there, and to take advantage of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not a destination in the world, in my opinion, that resembles Atlantic City. It kind of has a little taste of everything that you would want when you go to a destination. We have our world-class beaches, free beaches, which is incredible. If you're from New Jersey, you know that you usually have to pay to get on the beach. The oldest boardwalk in the country, our 9 casinos, which hosts more sleeping rooms than Baltimore and Philadelphia. It's over 17,000 sleeping rooms. So it lends us to be able to go after large national convention sporting events because we have the meeting room inventory and sleeping room inventory to be able to host those events. And then you have your dining. And I will never forget, I was with a client one time, and he spoke a little bit of broken English. We had a long site visit. And at the end, he goes, Dan, do you have any good restaurants here in Atlantic City? And I remember being a little tired after it all. I said, how about this? You name a chef, and I'll tell you if they have a restaurant. And he named Gordon Ramsay. I was like, he has 2. Wolfgang Puck, Michael Simon. And Guy Fieri, he's also got 2. And I was surprised. I surprised myself how many incredible dining options we have in Atlantic City. Everything from your mom and pops up to your big chains. And you look around, and we were talking about it before the show. It's easy to take for granted because you live in it. And I always say you got to see it to believe it. So when we have our clients come down and we show them just a taste of Atlantic City, there's a good opportunity and good chance that they'll be back and hosting their event.
And that's probably makes the sale a little bit easier, like you were saying, touching on. Listen, we had one of our previous shows, we were touching on Restaurant Week and whatnot. And so much to what you say is the truth, whether it's the big restaurants and the casinos and whatnot, the Gordon Ramsays and whatnot, or the Chef Volas or the 2825s or our Vietnamese or Latino restaurants. We have it all here. So, and that'll be another show, folks. We're going to make sure we bring them back and we talk about some food. So, again, with some of the events, I know we're going to get into them. Some of the unique events is what I want to pop on to too, and I call unique. I'm riding down the boardwalk one day, and I'm like looking over to my right towards the pier, Caesar's Pier out there, and I see pole vaulting going on. So talk to us about some of them. I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know you know what you're talking about. It's not the norm, and we talked about it a little bit at the pre-interview, the 4 majors or 5 major sports. What do we got?
You know what? You brought up such a good sport, and it's a sport that's not mentioned a lot because it doesn't have a big impact. It's only 3 pole vaulting pits on the beach. However, it attracts 2,000 spectators to watch these people literally pole vault on the beach. And with some of these clients, we talk about dating them because they're in other destinations, and other destinations have great amenities too. They were in Seaside Heights, and I literally dated Mike Piscuzzo until I finally got him to come to Atlantic City and move the event here. But when we first created the Sports Commission, kind of what you alluded to, there was only 5 major sports that we thought about. And then as you travel and go to different conventions in different cities, you learn about USA juggling, and before cornhole was a thing, and now it's pickleball, it's exploding. And you realize that the 5 major sports are truly just the tip of the iceberg. And I think with what Atlantic City has to offer, we don't have that large sports complex that a lot of these major cities do. So we have to be creative and use our innate topography and landscape to be successful in hosting some of these major sporting events. So we utilize our boardwalks, we utilize our beaches or Bader Field because we don't have that infrastructure that a lot of major cities have. So we're creative, and it's been wildly successful in doing so.
Evan, you speak on that, the Boardwalk Hall, as you speak. I think it's always ranked up in as far as mid-size, whether it's concerts or whatnot. Am I right in saying that?
You are 100% right.
Yeah.
It's also the largest proscenium theater in the country, which is super cool, and hosts the world's largest instrument as well.
Yes.
Which not a lot of people know that. But my mom, being a musician, I remember she asked if we could do the tour one time, and those pipes are anywhere between 6 to 8 feet and the size of your pinky nail. So
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It is incredible, and you just gave me another idea to have a guest on for the show, so I appreciate that.
Sure.
So listen, I want to touch on some of this. We have a list of events that we have here, and just to let the folks know, we don't want to date ourselves of what's something that's passed and whatnot, but you just spoke about pickleball. I was out there about a month or so ago, the convention center. First of all, tell us what pickleball is, the Reader's Digest version, and then what you got going on out there.
Yeah, so pickleball is the largest and fastest growing sport in the country, physical sport. Esports is the largest virtual sport growing in the country. And we were approached by a gentleman by the name of Jim Ludwig who said, we want to bring this event to Atlantic City, and we want to host the largest indoor pickleball tournament in the country. I've never heard of it. I'd never played it before in my life, so I had to do some of my own research. Right. And it started in Seattle, and this gentleman had a dog, and his dog's name was Pickle, and he had a ball that was all chewed up and everything,
really?
and they couldn't find it. They said, "Where's Pickle's ball?" And that's kind of where it came from. But it's a sport that's kind of equivalent to tennis and badminton and ping pong all mixed into one, and it really bridges the gap between ages and genders. There's a mixed doubles, there's a mixed gender. And we were fortunate enough to host the largest indoor pickleball tournament in the country with 41 courts and one showcase court that was live on CBS Sports. And to be able to hold to take your cap off and say that you hosted that is incredible. And we only think that event will grow year over year over year. And our first inaugural year, we did 800 players, wow. And that's nothing to shake a stick at. So
no, it's not, and it's bringing these players out here, but it's also new eyes and feet to Atlantic City, whether it's their family, and we love it. Listen, I had a great time. I didn't know what the hell it was, but now I'm a fan of it, and I think it's going to be a great addition to what we do here, the more common type things. We got Jimmy Johnson here. Listen, I got an invite from you and Joe Lupo a couple of years ago, the inaugural, I believe it was, and got to meet him, got to see what you guys and gals do out there. It was an amazing tournament, just watching the folks and the amount of people and the luxury boats, fishing boats. Talk to us. It just passed recently. Talk to us about that, because when you talk Jimmy Johnson, Dallas fan or no Dallas fan, because we think that you're talking world-renowned type talent right there.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about a perfect demographic for Atlantic City. These boats are not cheap. They are expensive. You have star celebrities like Michael Jordan fishing in the tournament. That you couldn't ask for a demographic. These people come. They like to spend money. They like to eat. And we were a little concerned, being transparent about this year coming out of COVID, because gas prices were so high. Just to provide some contextual background, just to go out and back to the canyon cost around $7,500 in fuel. But these people are committed to Atlantic City. They had incredible fishing last year. We had even better fishing this year with 2 big blue marlins that came in, one that Michael Jordan caught. And you look around, and I've never seen the marina more packed. And you see people that are coming home from work and they're going to the marina just to watch the fish that get weighed in, because these aren't fish that you're catching out here, 20 miles off. You have to go 80 miles off, 120 miles off to catch these fish, and it's a commitment. And these captains of these boats and these boat owners make the commitment to come up to Atlantic City from Florida, from North Carolina, from South Carolina, to be here in Atlantic City. And every year we just want to keep building on that. And as a Cowboys fan, to have Jimmy Johnson name behind this event, when he comes in, he makes sure to spend time with everyone. It's a very, very special event, and probably one of my personal favorites.
Class personified right there when you say that. Now, we only got about 3 minutes left, believe it or not. I want to touch on some more, and you just get your Reader's Digest. You touch on what you want.
Yeah,
Please.
sure. So the U.S. 9-Ball Open Championship just passed. The best 256 billiards players in the country here in Atlantic City, from any country you can imagine, are coming into Atlantic City to show their skill on the billiards table. An incredible event, and they will be back next year as well. We have our MAC tournament that takes place in March. We need to have a D1 tournament in Atlantic City. We used to have one before. We're very happy to have the MAC tournament here. This will be their 3rd year, and to have it for the first year, they were able to have fans and spectators in the arena was special. To get to have those players play in front of them, because in 2020 we had COVID, and 2021 spectators weren't allowed. So very happy that that'll be back. We have our annual Ironman 70.3, 3,000 athletes. It sells out in weeks. Great event. Steve Del Monte, shout out to him, an incredible race director. I think every city is envious that we have Steve Del Monte in our backyard, and just an incredible all-around event producer. And then we have a lot of other events. We have our volleyball, our basketball, our futsal. These are all 400 team events that bring more than 5,000 room nights per event to our destination. So when you ask about what the Atlantic City Sports Commission does, it's about driving economic impact to our region, having those families and athletes come, stay in our hotels, eat the food, drink the drink, and go from there.
And I love it when you just added that, because like you said, that's the incredible thing when you see whether it's cheerleaders or the wrestling tournament. I know, being a former high school wrestler, and we used to go to Princeton. Okay. Now that it's here, I guess in the mid-'90s, it moved over to Boardwalk Hall. You got 3 nights of 10 to 12,000 folks in there, and they're just here enjoying themselves, and I love it that it's at the hall. Talk to us about that real quick. I mean, what type of impact do you see when they come into town?
You said that perfectly, right? So each sporting event has a different multiplier that comes with it. So like women's volleyball actually has the highest multiplier, because if Susie's playing, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister are coming. Wrestling actually has a smaller multiplier, but they stay in Atlantic City for a while. Their spectators are the best in any sporting event, really. To your point, they fill that arena 3 nights in a row. I will tell you, the saddest place in Atlantic City is behind where they load in, because after the kids lose the match, they go there, they take off their headgear, and they're upset. And I was a wrestler myself, so I've been there. I know it. But I'm confident. I look at those kids and I see they're freshmen or sophomores, and I make sure when I'm looking at the program for next year that they're there. And I kind of watch them, and to watch them grow and mature, it's something very special.
They'll be back, and I get it too. So listen, we're out of time. We're going to have you back for sure, Dan. Folks, make sure you follow this man and follow the Atlantic City Sports Commission, what they're doing. It's a great time of the year. All year when we have Sports 365 in Atlantic City. We're not like most beach towns. We don't close down.
Good point.
Right?
Absolutely.
Dan, thank you, sir.
Mike, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Folks, stay right where you're at. We'll be right back.